Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we got ourselves our first instance of our first trial back into the second game, and now we're going to be doing our witness testimony. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let us not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. I see. Is that what you said just true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? I mean, yeah. I mean, if you did leave it there, it would hurt, but it wouldn't make it worse, if I remember correctly. Yes. Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. Hey, this is why Yoka should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever gonna give someone a little poke with a knife and pull it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so... Of course you haven't. I didn't bring it up until you have to behave like a bandit. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes. It's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Rain had been well aware of it too. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, it would prove fatal in many ways. But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out that knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett? I don't know. There is a guard. We need to know who this guard is. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have? Susato. Yes. Pull yourself together. You mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Defend our client. You have to believe in your client. Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. However, I must warn you, if your cross-examination fails to identify any issues with the establishment, I will be moving my adjudication immediately afterwards. I understand. Believe in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard. Well, we're in for something, I guess. Forensic medicine primer. You say doing it without thinking could be a problem. But does that mean you use due care and attention would be alright? I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out really, but the blade is like a stopper in the wound. Remove it, and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You can't just do it. Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath. Back to the witness's testimony, please. That's basic knowledge for any... Okay. You're literally pressing... In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Which is... Clearly, the defendant Ray Membani-san does not possess an ounce of sense. Are you calling her dumb? What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as a lacking in common sense. We just straight up said she's dumb. Yeah, she's dumb. Well, I thought it'd be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it. Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing, because I have my gallet ready. Oh dear, that recoiled on me rather badly. That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn. Hopefully you can see now this really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Membani-san would have certainly been aware of it. In other words, there is no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground bleeding to death. The sight could have been shocked to her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I don't really think advertent actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would have behaved so irrationally. Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold of me too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Membani-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. You know the defendant? And you, Counsel, you do not appear to know the law. Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. With this, alleging the defender, I would almost say to pity the accused. So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Ah, yes, Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Membani-san. Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Membani-san's talent and offered her the position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membani-san's abilities. Clearly, the defendant was in the man's death, which only serves to prove my point. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Rael knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Hisato, it's times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. The fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. Ah. I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom. So if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record? It's an idea, certainly. What should I do? I know what to do. I know how to examine evidence. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their heads. We always examine each new evidence. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail with space... Okay. Oh, by the look in your eyes, it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at your everything. You may find just a clue. Yes, I'll do it straight away. Alright, court record time. Raka's England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, isn't it, father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. Can we turn it around? Okay, what's this? This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. From Yume Medical's research. Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as that for the head of the laboratory. I did it. I've not heard such a thing. Where on earth could a reporter have gleaned his info? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there? It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on the strictest confidence. I'd put Ray in charge. Well, this is relevant. Charge the project. Ray? So he was managing it? If what's written here is true, it means she tried to hide the theft from me. Well, moreover, the details were leaked somehow. I don't believe it. We need to read this article very carefully. Even Mikotoba didn't know about this? This newspaper is very random then. Okay. Disturbing incident, deadly poison, stolen. Even the smallest amount entering via the mouth or wound from a poison-laced blade would prove fatal in minutes. Developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Onset symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing, ending with acute congestion of the pupils prior to death. Such symptoms would be suggestive of this toxin. It's apparent to be a new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to have been commissioned by the military. Poison. Okay, let's check this fountain pen. We take the pen's lid. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, he filled by drawing the ink from the bottle up through the nib. But there's no ink. Is something wrong, Father? Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Oh yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. There's very small liquid still inside. What's this? There's some sort of emblem here, look. But isn't it a Yume University one? It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. Some business of some kind. It would seem that it implied that the pen in fact does not belong to Wei. That is suspicious, honestly. If this is not Ray's... The arm and M initials are very clearly engraved here, and the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is a very clearly message too. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there could be any doubt this is a key piece of evidence in this case. So we got two evidence updated from the fountain pen and the poison article. Pulling a heavy blade would think would cause heavy bleeding. There's no good reason why... Maybe that's the thing, but which one? There's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. No way. Poison article? No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound. What? Heh! The Yoko not only has a poor grasp of the law, but also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison had been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Unit. The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But... Prosecutor Alchi, you will let the defendant speak. But a newspaper article. The court cannot rely on such a kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You would indicate the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion. Your Excellency! Yes, of course. Thank you. Wayne would have never done something further to endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... Deadly in tiny quantities? Why is poison being developed? Deadly in tiny quantity? The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body and the knife lays with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting if the knife is used to attack Miss Brett with laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membani-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible? Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What? This is a complete and utter nonsense! Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife from the blade from the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life. The prosecutor cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. Oh, please, this is pure desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for the medical assistants to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly, well put, Inspector. What grounds did she do it, Yoko? Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly. From your expression, Counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be well aware that words alone, are empty or not, are no value of our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. In that case, Counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates the clear link between this case and the poison newspaper article? Oh! Pupil constriction. Because the poison mentioned pupils. Reserved in victim's both eyes. Okay. I'll present this then. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, which was observed in the victim. Huh. Clearly, being a Yoko with no knowledge of the forensic science, I have no idea, so please do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death? Well, under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you Yoko detective? I'm losing my voice right now. In the newspaper article, there's the following info about the stolen poison. Onset of the symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with an acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely... Yes. As a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Yeah. Professor Algae, I think you'll agree. This is a very compelling evidence. You! Yoko student, Yoko professor! I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. No! Eugen Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's agreement. You will tell the court the truth about the details of the report in this newspaper, please. It pains me to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. You mean to tell the court of the reports of the thefts of this theft are unfounded? I can't even speak. No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Hey, listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the depth of the secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper. I take full responsibility of the incompetence of my supervision. Father. A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing off on killing sprees. That's totally unfound. Hold it. Ray. What's she doing here? None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray. Mambani-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated. But it was me. I was the one who knows that the poison we're developing had been stolen that day. What? So you knew. I've been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day the professor and Saseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed some of the poison was missing, just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had been somehow taken. I have a feeling I know who took it, so I decided to get it back before anyone else found out, because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that Dani English woman. I was right. Miss Giselle Brett. She would have... I'm pretty sure this is... I mean, this isn't the first time she's done it. So it would make sense. That's why I decided join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she sat on a stool on the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. What? Wait, what? Why did she speak and then she... Wait, someone stabbed her already? But she won't say who did it? That's when I saw the knife in her back. What was the point? Why didn't she tell who it was? I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison? My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body, on the blade of the knife in her back. And that the train of thought was spurred to you to withdraw the blade? Yes, if the amount had entered the bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I hope. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. Well, this is one interesting mystery to know why I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it right now. You could have said this in the beginning. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something you can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage in which you have confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now. But who did it? Who did it? Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membani-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, she doesn't know. You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim and motivated by revenge. But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence, and it's very much conclusive. You do? What's the prosecution counsel up to now? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there, almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Professor Auchi. Perhaps some praises due, young Yoko student. What? I had imagined there'd be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. What? Why is there a camera there? Huh? Who took a picture there? The fuck? There's a hidden camera in the room? Choto fucking mate. Yeah, if you look at this photo correctly, there is no way you could have. Wow, there's a hidden gap right here, but we can't see it from this photo. Yeah, like, what the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused murderous nature, for it shows the precise moment that Memani-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true, no. I don't believe it. Ah! Order! Defense for the council, it was you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom. Perhaps his voice is yet to break. These yokos are slow in mind and slow to mature. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Susato's starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cognate photographic print as evidence. Our friend Ray can be seen kneeling over Miss Brett. Fucking hell! Why is there a photograph there? Can't believe he's had a photograph like this up in sleep the entire time. Why didn't he show it his hand before? Yeah, this is something that's bothering me right now. It's... What's this? What are these cracks there? There's something bothering me about this. Is the murder weapon really the pen? No. There's no way. Or is it? Or is it? Or is it? Could the murder weapon be the pen? It's such a stark image, I'm generally lost for words. Yeah, I'm totally lost. Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... who took that photograph? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who took that photograph? Ray. That's no importance here. Stop trying to divert it. This is very important. If we don't know who took the photograph, that we can't rely on it as evidence. Oh. That's some absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Yeah. Yep. I think that's why he hesitated about this evidence. He would play his hand, but it would cost him. The person who would take the photo. I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecutor revealed the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Why not? Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or the address. The provenance of this print is unknown. So you willingly got this photo without knowing who gave it to you. Goodness. Are you to understand then, counsel? In full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission for evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced that print before, I noticed you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you Yoko student blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print is so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this is in the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back. When the moment was withdrawn? Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. And the scene it captures is without the doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on this matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. No. Oh no. Sasato, this isn't the time for you to fight. What you've established so far is true, and there can be no doubt that this photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we need to prove that somehow. You have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Aochi of the Court of Law. I can't determine who took this photograph. The trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Well, Counsel. Your Excellency, the burning question who took that photograph, and the truth is... oh, no? I don't know. Sadly, no. If I give up now, I'll never be able to look Ray in the eye again. Susato, you need to steel yourself and summon your best argument. I'll do my best. Alright, I guess that was it. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But as you boldly claim you can please do enlighten us. Fortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How do you believe it? However, I am able to present evidence. The history of the defense's piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. What? Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence you claim reveals something about the mystery photographer? I don't... He said you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer. So which relates to the photographer? Only a lecture by Suzuki Natsu. Huh? Does Natsume have something to do with this? Does Natsume have something to do with this? Because a lecture. He was doing a lecture at Yume University. I'll present this. What is that? The newspaper again? Rakus English attorneys tells all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you notice that there are some white lines on... Oh! So that's what... Wait a second. If that's true, those lines are similar too. Wait, what gives? What gives? That same... So the same photo... Oh, I didn't notice it. Okay, now I understand. Closely, there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Oh, yes, indeed. They had caught my eye as it happens. Hey, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably from the branches of a tree or the like? There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at the photograph... Good gracious! Yeah, it's the same exact pattern. Yes, the same pattern of lines is present on the photograph too. Well, that tells us nothing. Ha! Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. Sure. There, you wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach council. Yeah. What's quite remarkable about it is that there are two patterns that are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired? Curious matching pattern that appears on both graphic prints is a result of... Some tree branches. The photographer's technique. Well, I'm pretty sure it's the camera's defect. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera I used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes. We could confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. Yeah. But there must be hundreds of camera devices here in the capital. It'd be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Aluchi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Who was this author? Many Memo! Uh-oh. I see you were called Arrakis England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
It's Memo! I tell you, it's Many Memo! Memo! Mini Memo. Saseki-san, what was that? Did you say Many Memo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. A reporter. Why wasn't this mentioned before? Now that he mentions it. They secretly spy, snapshot, scribble stories, and scupper my Oh, this guy. This fucker. Wait, what? What's that in his hand? Why is there some purple stuff in his hand? What the fuck? Could that same reporter be? A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Many Memo. So you're saying that this picture was taken by my Many Memo? Yes, my lord, your excellency, yes, squire. Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once. Bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency.
Yes, as you say, your excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison.
I want to examine that now.
You will select the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task, understood?
Meh. Many Memo!
What the fuck? Okay. I guess we're gonna continue on with the trial, I guess. So we're not gonna end the episode just yet. Maybe like several more minutes. I think we're just gonna save and keep continuing. But so far this trial, if only he had mentioned that guy like early, but I guess not. 13th of August, 10:41 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber. 3. I'm so sorry, Sasato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was just scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out.
Well, this is a bit of a situation here. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence, that you stand by me to the last?
I remember.
And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets.
Well, I'm no better, you know.
Oh?
Even though in my heart, I knew that you pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, it was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. But...
Susato,
I'm sorry.
after I stood here and promised that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no.
I think this situation has taught the both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray. Yes? Can you find in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know, you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. Alright. So what we have so far is this reporter. But how suspicious is this reporter? That's the question. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at the time. That's right, just Miss Brett and myself, there's no one else. So I just don't understand how could she have possibly been stabbed like that.
A great mystery indeed.
I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It'll be alright. However it happened and whatever really went on by that sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you said saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison's gonna come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see.
Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin.
Chemical reagent?
I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case.
Chemical reagent, a special indicator solution for new poison, under development by my father's team. It's been created secretly. It exists for my father's laboratory. Well, time to check the court record. The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know.
It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be a little help here, I'm afraid.
Can he have just written medicine on it in Japanese? Then we all be able to read it.
German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit of labeling the bottle in Japanese. Though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate.
Is there anything Huh? See-through? That's interesting. Huh.
What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet.
It's this newspaper article. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out given that it was a government secret. It was all the English woman's doing.
What?
It was when the professor and Saseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned and without any compunction said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on that substance there."
It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had a little choice but to give him some cursory introduction.
So then Soseki-san knew about the poison?
God dang it! Yes, and it's highly likely.
It was part of his plan.
That the reporter who was writing up a story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too.
This Memo-san. By the way, did the reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. He must have spied. Like, he must have spied on the trip. If there was no recollection of him being there.
Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
Oh?
A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet,
he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police.
He wanted clout. Yes, that must be what happened.
He obviously wanted clout.
Counsel! We have just heard that the new witness is ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed to the courtroom at once.
It is time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense Attorney, Ryotaro Naruho.
Yes. Ray has put in her faith in me now and told me everything. So I can't just let her down. I have to prove what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. Well, considering what we know so far, we have to at least get some witness testimony.
I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Mambani. Prosecutor Alchi, have you summoned a new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share.
Oh?
What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Mr. Zeobrett's life.
Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course.
I had the regent delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
And counsel, what were the results? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison along anywhere in its blade. What? What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it.
Armed with the regent, the test is extremely simple. They could have made a mistake.
So the murder weapon has been entered into court. A small knife from the scene of the crime was found in the victim's bag. No trace of poison was found in the blade. Ensured the accused's feeble excuse earlier.
Ah, yes, this must be the victim's blood.
Oh dear, blood is never a pretty sight, is it? I'm having to fight the urge to run it under a hot tap and get it clean.
You've always been fastidious about cleanliness, haven't you?
I think this is something else, Father. There's really no trace of poison, huh? I'm very curious, though. Oh, my bad. No! Has been utterly destroyed. Nah! Now the prosecution's ready to call a new witness.
Ah, the newspaper reporter managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
Alright, unfortunately, we're gonna end off this episode here. So next time on the Grade A's Attorney Chronicles, we're gonna hear a word from our new witness and see what he has to say. So I'll see you guys all next time.